अरुणाचल शिवा अरुणाचल शिवा अरुणाचल शिवा अरुणाचल.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Nilakantanji, do you want to recite something?
Yes. किमपि सततबोधं केवलानन्दरूपम् निरुपमम् अधिवेलं नित्यमुक्तं निरीहम् निरवधि गगनाभं निष्कलं निर्विकल्पम् हृदि कलयति विद्वान् ब्रह्मपूर्णं समादौ हृदि कलयति विद्वान् ब्रह्मपूर्णं सनादौ किमपि something which is very inexplicable sadadabodham which is like eternal knowledge kevalananda rupam it is only bliss, only pure bliss nirupamam no comparison is there for that adivelam beyond limitations okay nityamuktam which is ever free. So this is something which is very interesting because we always feel that I am ever free provided you are sitting there. Niriham, free from activity. Niravati gaganavam, it is like space, limitless space. Nishkalam, indivisible. Nirvikalpam, there is no activity, absolute. Hridikalayati vidwan, so you feel that in your heart and you are sitting down completely in a kind of samadhi, they call it samadhi as one-pointed meditation. In that you realize this and you be that. Thank you.
Thank you. If you remember last time when we were talking about like a projector, when the screen comes towards the projector, the images become smaller and smaller. So that is what even Zoom, how good this example is. Zooming on self, you go beyond time and space. You get to the self. Though the self is everywhere, all pervading, within me, within you, everywhere, everything. But why we don't know it? And the answer is very simple. The tools what we are trying to use to know self are useless. And the second thing is, it is subtler than the subtlest. And we try to see things from the mind. Mind is too gross for it. The type of mind which we are using as a tool. And what is the quality of this awareness? It is silent. So to hear it, to know it, mind has to be silent. In a silent mind, it will manifest. Actually, it is manifesting all the time, eternally, continuously, uninterruptedly, in you, me, and everyone. But to know it, there should be silence. Not a silence outside in the external world that there should be no noise, but no noise within. No noise. If you can silence your mind, or your mind has pity on it and it gets silent, or the grace of Guru, teacher, self, God silences your mind even for 1 second, they say even for fraction of a second, you will know it. The problem we don't know is because on this screen the movies are continuously going on. And when the movie is not going on, then the knower of the screen is also unconscious, as in deep sleep. So how can you catch a glimpse of the screen without a movie, without an image? And that is a very interesting thing. If it happens to you, even for a fraction of a second, you are free. Because then you will not leave it. Firstly, because you are a spiritual seeker. That's what you are longing for. And as soon as you get it, you're not going to waste time again going through it. We are not interested in lost and found. Once found, never lost. This is the precious jewel in the cave of everyone's heart. Shiva himself. Knowing Shiva is be Shiva. What is the difference between you and Bhagwan? That you are still seeking and he has found the jewel. If you found the jewel, then there is no difference. There is no difference in time and space, which religion you belong to, what is your profession, what is your story, what you have done. Nothing matters.
It's a nice example. Near my house in Trivandrum, it's a huge temple, Ananta Padmanabha Swami. Vishnu is sleeping. And his right hand is doing puja to Shivji. There's a Shivling there. Exactly when he is sleeping, he has identified the self. That he is not sleeping. He is in that yoga nidra and he has identified the self. That's why he is doing that puja to Shivji. Otherwise, it is Shav, which is dead body. He is just silent to the core. That's why he is able to identify that. So there, suddenly I was thinking about this 2 days ago and I wrote a shlokam and you are telling about this today. So go ahead.
You know, there are so many things in this world which we don't know. Because whatever we know is by our senses. Senses have limitations. Like how far can we see? We see stars. And then there are stars beyond it. So this telescope which is in space station, and this telescope is finding stars every day. You can take this interpretation to any sense organ. But to know yourself, you have to give up all these tools, all sense organs, even mind. In some religions, in spiritual sects, they call it pure mind or two minds. I don't buy to any of those theories. Mano nasha. Mind has to finish. Mind has to go. At least, even if mind stays, you should not be in bondage of mind. And it is a self bondage by desires, by attachments, by judgments, by likes, by dislikes, by doership, by the story which we believe in. This story, what we believe, our story. People like write autobiography. What autobiography? Autobiography of self is blank pages only. Autobiography is only of the body. The body is going through it. And when a jnani's jnana, once you know what you are, life goes on because of that momentum. Though, because the prarabdha karmas has given this body, the body has to finish its job. It is like an arrow which is being shot. It has to finish. It will finish when it is supposed to finish. So it doesn't matter whether you're jnani or ajnani. The moment you have to leave this body, you will leave this body, whether you're jnani or whether you're ajnani. It doesn't matter. But till this body is there, it will continue with that momentum of prarabdha karma and whatever it has to do. Actually, in everyone's case, whether you're jnani or ajnani, things are happening on their own. Jnani knows they are happening on their own. Ajnani thinks he is doing. Ahem bhav, egoship, doership, that I am doing it. Even in this satsang, when we are all there, if we all know that things are happening on their own, unfolding on their own, it is no one's effort. You are free at this moment. Because it's an effortless journey. Just like some people go to movie, some are watching telly, some are playing sports, and here we come across some of us doing a satsang. Whose effort is it? No one's effort. Who is doing it? It's just happening. If you understand this, that things happens on their own, no one is doer, then all likes and dislikes and judgment drops away. Things just happens. Even let's say deliberately a person annoys you. That is what he's being programmed to annoy you. You must have annoyed someone at some stage in this life or previous life. So he is there to balance the equation. Nothing happens without a reason. So who are we to decide or not to decide? Leave everything, whatever is happening, good or bad. Be equanimous in everything. Don't take credit for good thing and don't feel hurt if something goes wrong. Give away doership. Then you are free. Then you are free from the mind. Freedom from the mind is not giving any work to the mind. Mind is serving ego only. Ego decides to do something or not to do something, plan this or plan that, like something or dislike something. If that ego is not there, then mind has no role to play. I'll give you an example of a friend of mine. He was a cardiothoracic surgeon and he had some argument with his boss. So the boss has no capacity, or you can say it was not politically right for him to sack him. So what he did with him was he told him that he is not allowed to enter the operation theater. He will not be allowed to do any surgery whatsoever happens. So most of the time he was sitting in library or sitting in canteen. He was getting the same salary, and he was very depressed and sad, and he told me, what should I do? I said, look, what can you do? This is what he has done. Probably you are still getting a salary. I was trying to console him that, at least his salary is the same and no work to do. You know what he did? In 3 months he left that job, resigned, and left that country and went to other country. This is the thing. The one who has a job, you take away the job from a person or from a thing. Here we are talking about mind. The mind has nothing to do. It will be gone. Just like a vestigial organ in the body. The organ which you don't use, it just disappears or gets rudimentary. Do whatever you can do to make your mind a rudimentary organ of no use. You will be free in no time, I guarantee you. If you are sincere and you can be free from any work given to the mind, even for 1 minute, you will be free eternally. Don't give any work to the mind. Let whatever comes, not just in words, but when actually something happens. And the best test is if someone causes unhappiness to you, thing, situation, or person. And if it hurts you, that means you are not free. Such a simple test. How long the mind can stay if you have decided not to give any work to the mind? How long can it stay? You have to be very strong. Whatever happens, you don't give any work to the mind. And then see what happens. The biggest change would be your number of thoughts, intrusive thoughts, thoughts with feelings and emotions, strong thoughts, all will slowly will fade away. Bliss will dawn on you. Lot of silence and peace. And your situation will turn in a way where the whole universe will try to help you to be more in silence. You will come across people like this, situations like this, where there's lot of time, lot of freedom, lot of time, in a sense that you don't believe that previously I didn't have even 1 minute free. Now I am just free. I come across people who do maybe 1/10 work than what I do. And they are so busy. They're running. Oh, I don't have time. I can't meditate. I have to do this. This is just a mind talk. The moment you give away this mind talk, it looks like time never ends. It is just a relative thing, time. When the mind is not there, you are beyond time. You're never in a rush. You're never late. Because whatever people think late, it is the time you were supposed to reach. Who decides that I am late, this is early, this work is not perfect? Who decides this? Only mind. Only your self-talk says, this is not right, this is right. Everything is perfect in that situation, the way it has to be done, it was supposed to. Even in a failure is perfectly right. Because, it was supposed to be like this. You have to put efforts, you're doing something, and then it does not culminate into anything. You know how many seeds you throw in your garden, how many becomes plant. Rest of them, You can say wasted, but that is the way it has to be. One will germinate, and others will be just like that. We should accept everything, failure, suffering, everything. I know it's easy to accept success, but not failure. But failure is part of it. And I'll tell you, more the failure is, more you're successful. Because failures makes you humble. Failures makes you disinterested. Failure grounds you, grounded. But when you are achieving everything, you're going like a rocket up. Your ego is also going up. Your voice has a authority all the time, no humbleness. When you have position, when you have power, when you have money, everything changes. And when things goes away, then you become humble. When the body is very healthy, you are very strong and your voice is strong. And when a disease strikes you, then you become humble. Suffering comes also with grace. And suffering teaches you more than success and brings you more to the source very quickly. So keeping quiet is so important. Summa Yeru, keeping quiet. It is not external quietness. It is the internal quietness. Quietness of the mind. Remember, if the mind is turbulent, restless, creating negative thoughts with emotions, it is our karni only. It is our doing. The way we have insulted, indulged. So you are going backward now. You have to clean all the mess. No one is going to clean your mess. Who cleans your poo? You yourself. You have to clean your mess. Don't say someone else will do. Bhagwan is not going to do. He's showing you the marg. He's showing you the path, but you have to clean it. Even in Bhagwan's time, there were people living with him who were completely ignorant because they thought they are with Bhagwan and they were having good food twice a day. It doesn't happen like that. See Annamalai Swami, see Muruganar. If you really want to see Bhagwan's, devotees who were enlightened, what they did, they walked that hard yard.
Actually speaking, Muruganar went and begged food. He didn't take food in the ashram. He went and begged food outside. So they have also done their due course of hardships. They have not given a plate something. So it's now they have to do. You have to do your hard yard of sadhana.
Yes,
this will not come.
Very important. It is not a cakewalk. It is only for a very a person who has a strong will to achieve that. Another thing, see Annamalai Swami. Annamalai Swami was like a servant of everyone for more than 10 years. Night and day. And then Bhagwan asked him to leave and do his sadhana. And Annamalai Swami said that there were people in ashram who were like those mosquitoes on the udder of a cow. Rather than drinking milk, they are drinking the blood. This is the saying of an enlightened soul. He knew there were people around Bhagwan who has no interest in sadhana and realization. They thought it will happen, now they have found Bhagwan. Bhagwan will do it. It's never like that. If you have a teacher, you should take everything what you can take and apply and practice hard. Keep beating your ego all the time. Be aware, be attentive. It is not a matter of just for 1 hour doing satsang and then putting legs on the top and then indulging, in whatever sensual pleasure, and then again after 1 week. If you are doing like this, 1 hour you are moving towards the source, and then rest of the time till next satsang you are still pulled back into the maya so much.
Like the maths. When we are young, we are given a maths sum or maths problem. Say like maybe in 5th standard or 6th standard, the frog is inside a well and it's trying to climb up. And because she is sleeping during the night, 3 steps she goes forward, but 2 steps she comes down. So how many days she'll be able to come out? Here, what we are doing is 2 steps going forward and 3 steps going down. So we never even go out.
Maybe more, because if you are going to church, let's say in church you get that connection, but you are going only for Sunday to Sunday, then what are you doing 6 days? With anything. I have never seen a teacher like Bhagavan who says that your practice should continue till you achieve the goal. He says it is like a river flowing or pouring of oil continuously. If you take breaks, you're breaking your sadhana. All these techniques in the world are useless. Meditate for 5 minutes, some says 3 minutes, some says 2 minutes, some says 2 hours. 2 hours, and then what you do 22 hours. 2 hours meditation and 22 hours. So who will win the game? Maya will win the game, or you will win the game. If you are given 22 hours to Maya and 2 hours to your sadhana, how would you transcend Maya? Maya is there all the time. Maya means your identity with the body mind. Perhaps in satsang you get alert. You have been awakened. You have been shaken from within. Wake up, wake up. You are sleeping, sleep. You have slept so long, for generations and generations, maybe millions of years. Now you have to wake up. Almost this Yuga is finishing. Kali Yuga is almost finishing, End of Kali Yuga. Some people have said Satyuga has already started. When will you wake up? Thing is that who understands this?
If Satya Yuga has already started, it becomes more difficult because you have to meditate for 100 years, whereas here you can do it for 12 years. That's what Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says. Because 432,000 years, 864,000 years, 1.2 million and 3.2 million, something like that. So the total, so you put 4 times multiply. So 12 years becomes 24 to 48, 48 to 96. That's almost 100. So it's better to do for 12 years rather than for 100 years.
Yeah.
So that should be the motive. Now I can do it immediately.
Very true. In Kali Yuga, because I'll give you an example. One of when I was doing medicine, there was a paper in pathology. They wanted to pass everyone because that paper, that subject, they have changed the format. So there was one student I remember, senior to me, who failed every time and he was not giving exam for last 2 years. So the departmental head asked me that if you ask him to sit in the exam, we will pass him. I thought this is such a good news. I went to his room. I told him, look, the departmental head has said that because we have to print this paper only for one candidate. We have decided we will pass him if he comes and sits the exam. So I thought he will be very happy. And you know what he said to me? Let them suffer. So this is the thing, how you take things. When the opportunity comes, you don't take that opportunity. Like Kali Yuga, where the things work very fast. Because there are not that many takers of sadhana also or doing. So God also gets pleased very easily. So stay on the path, and it's such a simple, what Bhagavan has brought, I'll tell you, there is no path so direct, so simple, straightforward, easy to achieve. All the paths take so long. Some of the paths don't even take you, they take to Brahmaloka or Vishnu Loka or something else, or some says after 7 births or whatever. Here it is instantaneous. I don't know, it was written in Vedanta, everything, I don't know, but it's only Bhagwan who brought it to us lay people in this modern world. And I think this is much more useful right now. Let's just sit in that awareness, be the witness to whatever is happening without saying a word within, without commenting, without judging. Just for the sake of saying, you can still say things, but internally should be complete silence. And you don't have to talk to anyone about it. It is your own sadhana. If anything is disturbing you, that means that you are not silent within. Otherwise, nothing can disturb you. So for all of us, the simple test is, if still we get agitated, unhappy about anything, or feel proud of anything, this doership has to go. Ego has to go. Till there is ego, you can't see what is subtlest of subtle. Ego is like a curtain in front of it. And because of ego, mind serves the ego. It keeps creating plans and thoughts. It's like giving in plate this and that, and images and thoughts keeps flowing on this screen. The moment you give up doership, the moment the ego dissolves, mind has no job to do, and you know what you are. Stay as awareness all the time. You might slip back, but that's okay, you can come back. When I say coming back, is not, there are not two self, but it is a misidentification with the body mind, which we slip back into. Pay attention to just awareness. You don't even have to tell anyone, but let's say some big achievement occurred or whatever. Even the little you feel proud about things, just watch it. Or when you hurt, just watch it. This witnessing has such a big power of observation. If you keep observing, your strength to observe will get exponentially high. And your seeing will be so clear, clarity, wisdom. And then it will be very hard, I'll tell you, at one stage it will be very hard even to think your body-mind. It will feel like you are claiming someone else's thing. It will be so hard. It will be like saying a lie, like stealing someone else's identity. Even to think that you are this body mind, it will become so hard for you. It will be the other way around then. Because the truth is always truth. Remember this. Illusion, you can get rid of illusion. Once illusion gone, then what is left is truth. And once you know the truth, then whatever happens, how can you forget it? If you know you are a man, no one can prove to you are a woman. Whatever a person says, even a simple name which is being given, by parents. Someone calls you, even in the midst of your sleep, you wake up with that name. Then how can you forget your awareness once you know it? Once known, eternally known. Job done, finished task. And it is not difficult at all. You don't have to read any scriptures, you don't have to do any japa, any mantra. You can do these things because if you think you have a practice and you think they help, go ahead, do all those things, pranayama, whatever. But then just pay attention to the awareness all the time. Don't move around for anything. When you stay in awareness, I'll tell you one thing is you will not be just free from your mind. You will be free from all the egoistic minds of the world. No one can manipulate you. No one. Do you know this? Everyone manipulates everyone in this world because of ego. You know, people say, I know his weaknesses. And they feed on our weaknesses. Government, politicians, religious leaders, family, so-called friends, everyone feeds on our weaknesses. And what are these weaknesses? These are vasanas, our desires, all coming from ego. The moment you give up this ego, no one can blackmail you. No one can manipulate you. No one. You're beyond anyone's control. So then people will be only of two categories around you: love you or hate you. People open with heart can sense it. The vibration level will be with that. But then for a lot of people it is fearful also. If they can't manipulate, they run away. They don't like. This is such a beautiful state. So contented. And does not require anything. Indescribable. And another thing about this is that it looks like you are always this. It does not look like it is something which is artificially put on me. It also, if you go into the memory lane and try to see, you can see that it was always there. But you are enacting like an ego, like a doer on the substrata of it all the time in the past. Because of that ignorance, it becomes so clean, so clear. Clarity is the main thing about it. No doubt left. Because what was the doubt? Doubt is only the mind's struggle to stay there. You know, when people have doubt about their own seeing, their own realization, it is just the trick of the mind, keeping you into the grip. Because doubt is also a thought only, that I am not free. You just let all doubts be there, but you stay as awareness and see what happens to all the doubts. All the doubts will be burnt away in the fire of the silence coming out with the pure awareness, pure seeing. That is tapas. And how you get that power? Because you are that power. You are not different from that awareness. You are that awareness. So the Bhagwan's inquiry method if you ask me, is only paying attention to the self. Pay attention to what actually you are, not to what you think. And when I say what you think, you don't think. It is the mind which thinks, but you think you think. Understand this dilemma. There is a big difference. We are treating ourselves as matter. We are not matter. We are energy. And this matter, mind is part of matter only. It is like on your laptop, there are songs after songs going on, or some commentary going on, or some speech, and you think you are that. It is exactly like that. This gadget called mind is producing thoughts, and you think you are thinking. You are just pure awareness. Sakshi Bhav, this attitude of witnessing should be there all the time. All the time. Don't judge any act of the body, mind, and just be detached to it. As Bhagwan says, disinterested action. Not jumping to do this or do that or anything, small or big, nothing. Whatever is there. Gradually and gradually, what you were will disappear. And one day, if you want to find your old self, you can't find any trace. Nothing left. Only blank. Nothing. The moment you give away misidentification, you're in perfect bliss. Bliss is always there. We are making noise of the mind. Another thing I want to tell you is people can be from different religions and disciplines and all, but biggest confusion in people's mind is that when they do action, then they get something. And they apply the same to this also. It's not that way. Bhagavan has clearly said that action actually bounds you, because people think if they do good actions, then they will be free. No. Good action will get you into a bigger cage, nicer cage, golden cage. Okay? Never free. You know, in this game of action, it's like snake and ladder game. If you do all the good stuff, you will get more goodies, more brownie points, and you get higher and higher status, wealth, name, fame. Maybe a birth in a very good family, but not freedom, because you're not desiring freedom. Because every action will get rise to good fruit. Good actions will give good fruit. All what in worldly people you will be very successful. But is that freedom? That is not freedom. Freedom has nothing to do with action. Freedom can come only when you desire for freedom, longing for freedom, mumukshutva. When you beg for freedom, when there's a grace of God, grace of Guru, practicing on the guidelines. Guru is a guide. He can guide you. He can show you the way. But you have to take the way. You have to come out of this law of karma. Law of karma is a bondage to the body mind, not to you. And if you follow on the lines of law of karma with body mind, then you are always in bondage. Understand very clearly there are two different things. The rules are set for the body mind. But if you are not playing, you are only a witness, then no rule applies on you. They apply to the body mind. Yes, it will go through what it has to go through. You stay as a witness. You come out of the game. So there are rules of this game which we all play from birth to death to birth to death. There are rules, laws of karma, 100%. But if you are not playing the game, then rules don't apply to you. No rules apply to you. So, but there are ways to get out of this. There are gates to come out of this playground. You pick up your gate, work on that gate, and the gate will open for you. But you have to do work. It's not like just sleeping, doing your duties, and it is over. No. You have to strive. You have to ask for help. You have to say to the God, look, please, my game is over. I had enough of it. I don't want to play anymore. If your request is sincere, no doubt you will be out of this game. But if you are 50% you want to play, 50% you want to go, then it will continue like this, birth after birth. If you want to be free, then that should be your only aim, only desire. And it doesn't matter. Desire will start with the ego, with the mind, with the body, with everything. Everything will be there. You will be in this daldal of this world, Maya. It's nowhere going. This all in this mess. You're trying to get out of this mess in the mess only. But this is the grace, the way it will unfold things. It will happen in this. You can start with even ego. Some people have a spiritual ego, that, I'm doing it and look, I'm so good. I'm the sattvic person. Okay, it doesn't matter. You start there. And then you get a fake guru. That's also good. No worries. But your seeking should be earnest. You should be really striving. At the end, everything will be right. I guarantee it. Don't worry about the method, the guru, and how the body and your karmas, and doesn't matter where you come from, what you are doing, where are you. You start where you are. And the speed of freedom, how quickly you will get is all depends on your earnestness. The fire in you. You should be burning fire for that freedom. I'll give you an example. So many times in face-to-face, I've realized that you finish a meditation. As soon as it finishes, people start talking. Rubbish. Good weather, bad weather. How are you? Were you sick? This, that. Oh, this is a new watch. Something stupid. Because that is the illusion. Illusion drapes you again. You can't stay in that awareness even for 1 second. A good teacher should slap all these people, that stay in your awareness. Why? Who is asking you to start talking so quickly? And that silence of meditation, as soon as you end, you do like this, and then people start talking. Why is that? That is not your mistake. It is the Maya. It drapes you. My advice is, if you are in that situation, you stay quiet. Let everyone speak out. Whatever they have to speak, their mind. What we speak is our mind only. We keep speaking unnecessarily, sometimes to please others, because we think other person will get bored in the silence. Because we get bored in silence, so we think the other person will get bored in silence. and we talk unnecessarily things to impress others, to keep them happy. Be the most selfish person in the world. Look for your own happiness. And I guarantee you, the moment you will be eternally happy, the whole world will be happy from you. Don't think of others. That energy will come out of you. Your body and mind will speak that energy. You can only give to the world what you have. If you are unhappy, how can you give others happiness? What is within will come out. I remember junior doctors, they do so hard work. One of these guys used to get angry when someone is mistreating him, patient or staff or anyone. And he was very angry. And I asked him, why do you get angry? He said, I don't get angry. I only get angry when there is a bad situation, when someone mistreats me. But you see, whatever comes out is what is in, isn't it? If there's love only, how can the anger can come? All these excuses we give for our misbehavior are lame excuses. We blame others for our bad behavior. It doesn't work like this in spirituality. See any sage. People throw stones on them, they want to kill. They have never picked up anything to kill someone else. At least not for themselves, not for their own sake. So be in that awareness. Don't be advocate of this body mind. Don't have any ownership of this body mind. And you know your life will be transformed. You will be talking from that absolute all the time. If you give up advocacy for this body mind, someone insults, someone says good about it, it's like you don't even know for whom they're talking about. Stay in that pure awareness. This is such a big power, this pure awareness, that it changes. Personality is just swept away like a flood of wisdom comes. It's just nothing left. All these religions are just stupid religions which says talk, truth, don't steal. Who can do all these things with ego? They don't say get rid of ego. They say you should speak truth, you should not steal. Because you know what they are interested? They are interested to in your bondage. They want you to try these things and you will fail, and then you will go to the master of that religion. Please help me. Then he will do some puja, some prayer for you. He will say, okay, I'll sort it out. Don't worry. You go home, give me some money, and I'll sort it out. It is not like that. You can't fix up all the issues which comes from ego. You have to finish the ego. All these impurities are of ego only. Everyone's ego. But you can't say to anyone that, you are like this because of your ego or, We all have to look within. Finish your ego and then you are always free. Then nothing will hurt you. If there are thorns in whole this world full of the egoistic people and it hurts you, the best is to put nice shoes, so nothing hurts you. These are the shoes of wisdom. Wisdom, your own wisdom, not from any book. Books talk about it, but sometimes we get confused in books. Book learning is not knowing what you are. You have to work hard. Not with body. Paying attention to awareness. Staying as a witness. Witness doesn't mean that you are witness and someone is saying bad words to you and you're witness, and you're getting angry inside and unhappy and you are witness. Wit- Witness will not be affected by anyone saying anything. Even you can say something to that person, don't behave like this, but it's not affecting you. It is not what you are speaking out, but what you're feeling in. Stay as a witness. Stay as a witness. It is, you can sometimes stay as a witness when someone is insulting you, but sometimes it's hard to be witness when something good has happened to you, from you, and then someone is appreciating you. And you say, "Ah, yeah. So paying attention to pure awareness, staying as a detached witness all the time. Morning you wake up till you go to bed. You slip, you come back. You slip into ego mode, you come back. Slip, you come back. This is the practice, very simple and easy practice. Here there is just awareness and the ego. Who will win? Where you are paying more attention. If you pay attention more to awareness, awareness will manifest. If you pay attention as ego, then the ego will be staying always, As Bhagwan says, ego side, manonasha. How this will happen if you continue paying attention to awareness till no trace of ego is left. No trace. But who can do this? For this, you have to be attentive. You have to be alert. That is what Bhagwan says. You have to be attentive till nothing is left in that fort. Actually, when I read it, I have been to Dingli, not Dingli, Dindigal, where Bhagwan talks about a fort in Dindigal. Because what happened was, when I was a medical student, we went to Kodaikanal, like 9 of us friends. And from there, we took a bus which was supposed to take us to Dindigal. And from Dindigal, there was another bus waiting for us, which will take us to, I don't remember, maybe Mysore or Bangalore or somewhere. So this guy cheated us. He dropped us at 2 a.m. in Dindigal and left, and there was no bus. So he took the money for the other bus also, but he disappeared. And I remember Dindigal all the time. We were in Dindigal and looking, and there is a fort. When Bhagwan's autobiography, he talks about he has been in that fort and they were playing like kids. He studied there in Dindigal. And when he talks about this fort, where till you win this fort, everyone should be out. All thoughts should be out. Till that, you have to be alert. It just reminds me of that Dindigal fort, I don't know which fort was in Bhagwan's mind. But this is so important. Alertness is very important. For sadhaka, for a seeker, this is very important. He can't sleep. You can finish your job, whatever you do, or you might be retired, but you cannot retire from this seeing pure awareness till the job is completely done. But another thing, when they're completely done, then you are in that alertness, awareness all the time. And you stay like that. Then don't try to test Maya again. Don't try to test. No need to test. Because that is also coming from the same source. It's just a leela, it's a play. It's all coming from the same source. Once known Shiva, stay in the Shiva consciousness. Praise Shiva, that's all. Or praise whoever you think, Jesus or Rama, or doesn't matter. It's that you can use any name or no name. But continue working on it. It is the closest of close. It is you. Why can't you get it? Because of slavery to the mind. And slavery is mutual. We think we are this body mind, and we have given mind all the freedom to get us all the good stuff from the world, We have a very big hunger, appetite for these worldly things which will finish, and the body will finish, and then we will repent one day. What a stupid I was, The body will finish for which you are doing. We all are doing for this body, which is finishing every day. We are attending satsang. Tomorrow morning we might not wake up. Who knows? And we are feeding it, indulging it. Everything is about body, isn't it? And we are not this body. Then why we are so much indulging in the body? Why can't we stay what we are? This is misidentification. This is all happening because of wrong identification. And to break this illusion, stay as what you are, as awareness, and don't move from here. Whatever happens. And if you don't have that much of power, then ask for power with folded hands, whatever God, Guru, whatever power you think. Ask, beg, cry. It will be, you will become more pure. Be a beggar in front of absolute. Be humble, surrender to it. Use any technique but just pay attention to awareness. And soon this entity called ego will disappear. It is disappearing every moment actually. And Bhagwan is more stronger, more present all the time now. He's helping. This is all is happening because of his grace only. When he was going to leave his body, people were crying. He said, "Don't cry." He said, "Bhagwan, you are leaving." He said, "Where can I go?" Where can he go? He's sitting in all of us. Let's pay respect to that awareness in our silence. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.